Hey everybody, the Miss Peg here. We are on our last page of our polynomial practice for our FSA Algebra 1 end of course review packet here. We're under the Algebra and Modeling section, and we are in standard, what I call APR 1.1. That's how I abbreviate that. And we've seen that there are different levels that these questions will be asked here on the screen. We've already done questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you want some help with those, these are different types of questions that can be asked of you on your Algebra EOC. We have 2 last ones to cover, and we're finished with the review on this section. We'll be moving on to a new standard. Okay, so here going directly into number 5. So I'm here given. Okay, now number 5. Given, and look what I see here. This is actually a quadratic equation right here. So given ax squared plus bx plus c equals all of this right here. All right. They want to know what are the values of a, b, and c. At first you might look at that question and say, but I don't know the quadratic formula. I don't remember. Don't worry about any of that. Actually start, this is the polynomial area, start by just figuring out what is the answer to this expression on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So that's where we're going to start. So first thing is always rewrite the problem. So let me clear my screen here a bit so we can get going. Boom. I'm going to rewrite the problem. Is the problem written right there for me already? Yes. However, when you are doing math, math is fantastic because it helps you to build a tenacity in life. You don't always want to take the easy road out. You want to be able to handle all of life's challenges, and sometimes just starting right from scratch is the best thing to do. So we're going to rewrite the problem first. So I have this first part here I've written down. That's a whole group because it looks like I have to do order of operations here. So I see I have 2 times everything in this parenthesis set, and then also times this parenthesis set. So it doesn't matter what order I do these in, as long as I multiply all of those 3 things together. So I'm just really going to start right here. So one of my strategies, I'm going to write this first section, and then I know I'm going to have to go back and add the rest of this later, because this whole multiplication section is going to come first. So that's what I rewrote and started with first. So here I am going to do 2 times 1.2. So I like to model everything that we do in class. So what I did, even though the numbers are so easy, I grabbed my calculator because on an exam, if you have opportunity to use a calculator, I would just use it every single time. So as the teacher, I still use calculator because sometimes we make tiny little detail mistakes that we wouldn't have made if we were using the calculator. Let the computer do the work for us, the computer being the calculator, because the calculator doesn't get tired. Human brains do get tired, and if you have 60 questions on a test, you might be a little tired and stressed. Just use the tools you have available to you. That's why they're available. Okay? So what you're going to do is 2 times 1.2x gives you 2.4x, because 2 times 1.2 is 2.4. The x stays there. And then I also have 2 times 0.03 is going to give me plus 0.6. You can put 0.6 is very, very common. I specifically don't do 0.6 because I don't like those extra zeros. They're assumed. And that was my distributive property. That's it. So that was the answer to multiplying the first 2. That's 2 times here. But I still have this set right here, x minus 0.5, that I have to multiply. This is a classic binomial times a binomial, so I'm going to use FOIL. In the previous examples, I did do what was a double distributive property, but in this one, I'm going to do the FOIL method. They're both the same. It's just a matter of how you look at it on the paper. Okay? So here, I have 2.4x times x. So I can write down here 2.4x times x, and those 2 together give me 2.4x squared. Okay? So then I also have, that's first, my first. Now my outer is the 2 outer terms. So I have 2.4x times 0.5. But wait, this sign in front is a negative. So I'm going to say times negative 0.5. So really you're going to take half of 2.4. So I do 2.4 times 0.5, well, negative 0.5 is going to give me negative or a minus 1.2. And I'm going to keep the x on there because one term had an x. I don't have an x squared because this 05 did not have an x on it. So now that handled, I'm finished with all my 2.4x distributing. Now I have to move on to my 0.6 distributing. So I write 0.6 times, and the first thing, these are my inner terms, is 0.6 times x together is going to give me 6 at 0.6x. Nothing is negative, so I'm just going to call it plus 0.6x. Okay? And then the last part are my last terms, that's my L part, is 0.6 times, and now I have, again, don't forget there's a negative in front of that 0.5, so negative 0.5 is how I call it. And don't get confused on those. So 6 times 5, so we have 0.5 times 0.6, so 6 times 5 is 30, but in this case we're going to call it 0.3x. And the reason why we still have an x on there is because there's an x on the 6. There's nothing on the 5, so there's no squares. All right, but that's actually completely wrong. This is a times. So we just got a 0.3 with no x. So we had 0.6 times negative 0.5 is negative 0.3. All right, so I'm going to put minus 0.3. Hope I didn't mess you up too bad with that one. So this here is an entire term that I need to now simplify. I'm doing this out the long way so you can see every single step. If you feel confident skipping some of the steps, or you could do some of this in your head, you don't have to go and use a calculator for every single step. No problem, as long as your brain is fresh. But if you're a little tired, I suggest doing out the long way. It's if you have the time. Okay? So first thing I notice is that this can stay. What I'm doing is I'm combining any like terms to clean this up and simplify this expression. And the reason why that stays and it just drops down is because it has an x squared. There is no other term for that to be combined with yet because there's no other term that has an x squared right now. However, here I have a minus 12x. I don't know why do I have a point there, but you probably know why. Let's see. I think that's supposed to be a 1.2x. Let's see. I think I put that in the wrong spot because it's a 1.2. I know because I know this problem. So it's half of that that we multiply by. So we have minus 1.2x plus 0.6x. So that's a tricky one because you're going down 1.2, but then you're coming back up 0.6. Okay, so we're going to do plus 0.6x. And you say, well, I don't even know how did you get 0.6x. Well, look at this. If you're confused by that, that's why I say use the calculator. So I'm going to put in here negative 1.2 because you see here we have a negative 1.2. Then I'm going to put the plus sign, and I'm going to put 0.6. So when I put 0.6, my answer comes out to be, oh my bad, negative right here. Negative 6, can you see that? 0.6. So here, let me go back. Sorry about that. Here we go. I know because I did this problem like 14 times already. All right. So you want to go back and check every single time. Reason being, what if you're tired? Like me today. Okay. Cool. So those have been combined. The last thing I have to look at is this minus 3.3. So there's nothing for that minus or negative 0.3 to combine with because that is actually a constant term. There's no variable or exponent on that term. All right? So actually, when I go back to my main question, this entire product up here, 2 times 1.2x plus 3, that entire times x minus 0.5, this was my trinomial answer. That was a lot of work. You will see something like this on your exam, so we have to get through these. All right, so let me erase some of this to show you where we're going next and to make a little more room for us. Because we're actually not finished. This problem is doing the most, okay? But it'll pay off in the end, trust me. You already know how to do the distributing we just did. It's just that we had to do 3 things to multiply instead of 2 that we've been used to. Okay. So grabbing my pen, I'm going to bring this information up here. So all of that came to 2.4x squared minus 0.6x. Make sure you can see my point. Minus 3. Good. Now let me finish the rest of the problem. So I'm going to put plus this, all this too. So I'm going to put plus 0.5x squared plus 2.5x minus 1.3. Look at that. All I have to do now is combine what is alike. So how do I know what is alike? So yellow's chosen. Well, I have an x squared. That can combine with this x squared, and both of those numbers are positive. Then I have a 0.6x. That's negative, minus 6x. That can combine over here with 0.25x because they both have that variable x on it. And then, looking here, my final term is minus 3 can combine with minus 1.3. Even though that's a decimal, that's okay. They're both constant terms. There is no variable on there. So let's go ahead and combine these. So, 2.4, so I know I'm going to have an x squared. 2.4 and 0.5 is going to give me 2.9 x squared. So I took care of those two. And then I have a negative 0.6 and a positive 0.25. So I have to go down 0.5 plus down 1 more. That's going to give me a positive because this is positive is greater than this negative, meaning 2.5 is a higher absolute value number than 0.6. So you have 1.9x. The reason I know that, so you're going to take 2.5, which is a positive, 2.5. You're going to do minus 0.6. So if you have problems when you get into decimals, it comes to 1.9, it's a positive. If you have problems when it comes to decimals, just use the calculator. There is no shame in that game. All right, so now we have a negative 3 minus a 1.3. The first thing I notice is I have negative and negative. I say something where I say minus, minus stays minus. You just keep going in that negative direction. Something you want to do in math, but don't do in life. Don't always just keep staying in a negative direction. Turn it around. Okay, so 3 plus 1 is 4, and then you have a 0.3. And it stays in the minus direction, so we're going to have here a minus 4.3. That's our final constant. This is our x value one, and this is our x squared one. Okay? So now that we've done this combining like terms, what does this actually mean to us? Go back to the question. Well, given this statement, ax squared plus bx plus c equals this, so I can say all of that equals this now. All of that equals this. What is a? Watch this, you guys. Let me get a highlighter for this. This is crazy. So I'm going to pick pink. A is in front of the x squared. So what do you have in front of the x squared? Then b is in front of the x. What do you have in front of the b? And c is your final constant value. What do you have as a c? Don't forget, that goes with the c, the sign in front. So let's fill in our answers and we will be all correct. So a is 2.9, that's the value. B is 1.9, that's your value. And C is negative 4.3, because I have to take the sign in front of the number. That's how to complete that problem. All right? So here, under what operations is the system of polynomials not closed? So not closed. Let's hit that one. So actually what that means, to find out if a system of polynomials is closed, so what happens when you add polynomials or subtract polynomials, multiply polynomials, if you notice when we multiplied these and when we added this stuff together, we got an answer that was a trinomial. We had 3 different terms. My answer is still a polynomial. However, there are times it's going to be a new polynomial. So there are times when you do this work, it doesn't come out to be, you might get a final answer or you're not creating a new polynomial, you're just breaking down the polynomial you had. It's not discovering something new, like a brand new polynomial. So here, your answer is going to be division. I can almost guarantee you 100% if you see that test question, choose division. Division not closed, everything else closed. Okay? If you see a question that asks you system of polynomials closed, not closed, choose division. All of these are going to always, more than likely, come up with a new polynomial answer. Division doesn't always have a new polynomial answer. It's one that was already included in the question. So hopefully that information helps you. And again, just choose division if you see that question. More than likely it's going to be like that. If it has, trust me. Okay. Thanks. Have a good time. Click the link below. Like, subscribe. See you soon. And as always, if you need any topics covered, need some explanation, feel free, leave me a comment, send me a message, find me somehow. Let me know what you need. I will be happy to make a video for you so that you can be successful, especially on this Algebra EOC. We want to see everybody pass and graduate high school. All right, here's to your success.